Okay, so if you will open up the Odyssey full text, and you're going to turn to page 58, this is where book 16 begins. And book 16 starts part 2 of the Odyssey, and this is the homecoming of Odysseus. Book 16, Father and Son. In books 13 through 15, King Alcinous and his friends send Odysseus on his way home. Odysseus sleeps while the rowers bring him to Ithaca. When he awakens, he fails to recognize his homeland until Athena appears and tells him that he is indeed home. She disguises him as an old man so that he can surprise the suitors, and then urges him to visit his faithful swineherd, Eumaeus. And a swineherd is just somebody who keeps swine or pigs. The swineherd welcomes the disguised Odysseus and tells him about what's been happening in Odysseus's home. Athena goes to Telemachus and tells him to return home. Remember, Telemachus is Odysseus's son. She warns him of the suitor's plot to kill him and advises him to stay with the swineherd for a night. Telemachus does just as she bids. But there were two men in the mountain hut, Odysseus and the swineherd. At first, light blowing their fire up, they cooked their breakfast and sent their lads out, driving herds to root in the tall timber. When Telemachus came, the wolvish troop of watchdogs only fawned on him as he advanced. Odysseus heard them go and heard the light crunch of a man's footfall, at which he turned quickly to say, Eumaeus, here is one of your crew come back, or maybe another friend. The dogs are out there snuffling, belly down. Not one has even growled. I can hear footsteps. But before he finished, his tall son stood at the door. So here is a picture for you to look at. The swineherd rose in surprise, letting a bowl and jug tumble from his fingers. Going forward, he kissed the young man's head, his shining eyes in both hands, while his own tears brimmed and fell. Think of a man whose dear and only son, born to him in exile, reared with labor, has lived 10 years abroad and now returns. How would that man embrace his son? Just so the herdsman clapped his arms around Telemachus and covered him with kisses, for he knew the lad had got away from death. He said, Light of my days, Telemachus, you made it back. When you took ship for Pylos, I never thought to see you here again. Come in, dear child, and let me feast my eyes. Here you are, home from distant places. How rarely, anyway, you visit us, your own men and your own woods and pastures. Always in the town, a man would think you loved the suitors' company, those dogs. Telemachus, with his clear candor, said, I'm with you, uncle. See now, I've come because I wanted to see you first, to hear from you if mother stayed at home. Or is she married off to someone and Odysseus' bed left empty for some gloomy spider's weaving? Gently the forester replied, At home indeed your mother is, poor lady, still in the women's hall. Her nights and days are wearied out with grieving. Stepping back, he took the bronze-shod lance, and the young prince entered the cabin over the worn door-stone. Odysseus moved aside, yielding his couch, but from across the room Telemachus checked him. Friend, sit down. We'll find another chair in our own hut. Here is the man to make one. The swineherd, when the quiet man sank down, built a new pile of evergreens and fleeces, a couch for the dear son of great Odysseus, then gave them trenchers of good meat, left over from the roast pork of yesterday, and heaped up willow baskets full of bread, and mixed an ivy bowl of honey-hearted wine. Then he in turn sat down facing Odysseus. Their hands went out upon the meat and drink, as they fell to, ridding themselves of hunger. Telemachus then sends the swineherd to let his mother know that he has returned safely. Athena appears and urges Odysseus to let Telemachus know who he really is. Saying no more, she tipped her golden wand upon the man, making his cloak pure white and the knit tunic fresh around him. Lithe and young she made him, ruddy with sun, his jawline clean. The beard no longer grew upon his chin, and she withdrew when she had done. The Lord Odysseus reappeared, and his son was thunderstruck. Fear in his eyes, he looked down and away, as though it were a god, and whispered, "Stranger, you're no longer what you are just now. Your cloak is new, even your skin. You are one of the gods who rule the sweep of heaven. Be kind to us. We'll make you fair oblation and gifts of hammered gold. Have mercy on us." The noble and enduring man replied, "No, God, why take me for a god? No, no. I am that father whom your boyhood lacked and suffered pain for lack of. I am he." Held back too long, the tears ran down his cheeks as he embraced his son. Only Telemachus, uncomprehending, wild with incredulity, cried out, "You cannot be my father Odysseus. Meddling spirits conceived this trick to twist the knife in me. No man of woman born could work these wonders by his own craft, unless a god came into it with ease to turn him young or old at will. I swear you are in rags and old, and here you stand like one of the immortals." Odysseus brought his ranging mind to bear and said, "This is not princely to be swept away by wonder at your father's presence. No other Odysseus will ever come, for he and I are one, the same. His bitter fortune and his wanderings are mine. 20 years gone, and I am back again on my own island." Then, throwing his arms around this marvel of a father, Telemachus began to weep. Salt tears rose from the wells of longing in both men, and cries burst from both as keen and fluttering as those of the great taloned hawk, whose nestlings farmers take before they fly. So helplessly they cried, pouring out tears, and might have gone on weeping so till sundown. Telemachus lets Odysseus know that they face more than 100 suitors. Odysseus tells Telemachus to return home. He will follow, still disguised as an old man, and Telemachus must pretend not to know him. He must also lock away Odysseus's weapons and armor.